If you grew up in the 90s, you remember seeing this. Static. Every time you flipped between channels. It wasn't broken. It was just what happened.
If you were born in the 90s, you remember this. Picking up the phone, dialing your friend, and just praying you didn't hear their dad's voice first. Whole lot of suspense in that ring.
If you were a 90s kid, you remember doing homework without Google. No search bar, no autocomplete, just you, a stack of books heavier than your backpack, a pencil, and a whole lot of guessing.
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember toys being simple and using your imagination. These guys didn't need an app or batteries, just a good battle cry and a floor big enough for adventure.
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember wanting snacks just because you saw them on TV. They made them look like the coolest thing on the planet. These, I begged my mom for them every Saturday morning.
If you were born in the 90s, you remember taking pictures and not seeing them for weeks.
If you were a 90s kid, you remember this. The family computer taking up half the desk and the whole house waiting their turn to use it. You'd hear the dial-up tone, watch that little bar crawl across the screen, and guard your spot like it was made of gold.
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember this sound. Little plastic doors and the rainbow on the back. You didn't just hit shuffle, you flipped through, hunting that one track, and you had to land the skip just right.
If you were a 90s kid, you remember video games without updates or online accounts. You just plugged in a cartridge, hit start, and boom, instant fun. No patches, no logins.
If you were born in the 90s, you remember phones with cords you had to stretch across the room. Like all the way over here, hoping nobody tripped on it. Wild times, right?
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember riding bikes until the streetlights came on.
If you were born in the 90s, you probably remember going to a video store on Friday night and hoping the movie you wanted wasn't already rented out.
If you were born in the 90s, you remember life feeling slower, somehow bigger. Like every sunset had more sky in it. I think about that a lot.
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember planning your day around TV shows. You'd flip through one of these, circle the good stuff, and hope nobody called when it was on. It wasn't just watching, it was an event.
If you grew up in the 90s, you remember passing notes instead of texting. Folded just right, aimed across the room like a secret mission. Kinda makes a ping seem boring, huh?
If you were a 90s kid, you know this ride. No screens, no swiping, just the rumble of the bus and the stories we made up to pass the time.
If you were born in the 90s, you remember this. Holding the remote like it's a race car, thumb tapping super speed. And then that moment, guessing when to slam the brakes. Nailed it.